Jason Schwartz. You know me. I'm not running this time. I'm the director of the Maui Arts and Music Association and all its other names and all what it does. You know that. But there's a sign behind me. Pekus. You must be Danny Pekus.
I am. Nice to meet you, Jason.
See that? I was guessing. No. We are up close in 2016, and you are in District 11 Kihei, State House of Representative race, which is a highly contested primary race between two prime hot candidates, Deidre Teagarden and the incumbent, Kaniela Ing.
Correct.
And how do you fit in this movie? You are the Republican. They're Democrats, you're Republican.
Yeah, that's true.
What makes you Republican versus Democrat in this race? Anything special?
My policies are a little bit more on the conservative in terms of we've got to start being accountable of our money that goes to our tax money that's going into these other things that we're dealing with in society.
So, what do you do these days? What's your work that you do? I know that you told me, but tell them.
I am a teacher at Baldwin High School. I've been a special ed teacher for 20 years. And dealing with special ed and government, you learn to negotiate and you learn to deal with a win-win situation for your students, the parents, and everybody involved. I see a deterioration in the way our schools have been managed. I see a deterioration in the way that our money has been spent, not only in schools, but across all the venues of government.
So, you direct money differently than has presently been.
I'd be accountable for it, and I would also not have an open checkbook.
Who's got that checkbook?
That's a good question.
You mean by the decisions in the State House?
Yeah, I mean, a good example of as far as decisions being made, when you're elected, we're making decisions for the constituents, our public here. And the thing is it's kind of like my union making a decision and sending out information on who they're backing when I was never asked. So the thing is, I want to be able to go to my public that elects me with everything, lay it out there, and say, this is what we're voting on. And things need to be written more simplistic.
So, I'm going to give you a little history on your district. Because I've been doing these interviews, this is my 13th interview season, 26 years. There was a guy here, Chris Halford, who's Republican, and he said, I can't get anything done because these guys are Democrats, we can't agree, we can't talk across the aisle. This is a new era. Kaniela Ing is a hotshot guy, got same-day voting thing happening. Deidre Teagarden, working for the governor, speaks languages, sharp as a tack, real capable, knows all kinds of people. They're both really good candidates. So I don't think that either of them would think that they throw the money away. So I'm trying to, you would like to spend on education, I would think, because you're seeing education has been a serious area that's been depleted of resources. Any other things that you think are important?
Well, affordable housing is a problem on the avenue. Homeless, we're the highest in the United States, 487 homeless for every 100,000 population.
I think we have more than that aren't declared.
I mean, but still,
they didn't
pretty
declare
high.
me when I was homeless. You know, I've had quite a ride on Maui.
And, I mean, we have other
curious
things too.
to know
We got domestic violence is a big issue.
So the reason I'm asking my question this way sort of is, we have a choice of choosing a representative in a district, and in your case, you have a district area, so you have a constituency that's local. You mentioned that you'd like to know about all the issues because you feel the spending's been wild without any talking to you. I hear Deidre talking about she's an open door. Kaniela says it also. Have you found that you haven't had the ability to communicate something specific? The reason I'm asking only is because I'm trying to figure out myself. I don't live in Kihei, so I'm very fortunate. I don't vote. I love everybody equally, but I do anyway. I really do. elections are a benchmark. It's what we can progress and get done. I don't believe that only the elections are the way we should judge, but your specific issues are things that are really lacking. What makes you feel like you want to be in state house? Because I can hear you have very important concerns.
As a, I've done a lot of different careers. I got a master's in special education, but I got a business degree. I've owned some companies. I've been a marketing director on a manufacturer. So I've done other things. So I've seen the private sector and the public sector. And I can see how the private sector spends. And the reason they do that is because they're worried about bottom line. Our public sector is not too worried about bottom line. They're just worried about allocating things and trying to get things done. And our administrative costs are way out of hand. And that's where I wanted to approach, where we can get more money. I mean, right now the governor wants to go 4 cents sales tax on gas. He wants to increase it. I think we got enough sales tax on gas. I think we got enough money there to be able to do the road improvements and everything that we need to do. Maui has $43 million in money allocated for road improvements. But yet, our administrative costs are way off the charts. We're the worst in the United States. Vermont's the lowest, somewhere in the $900 per mile administrative cost to do roads. Hawaii's $90,000.03 per mile to do roads. So when we drove down Mokulele here for 3 miles, it cost $270,000 before they even got a job. I would rather see that money not be as high an administrative factor, and either we can do more roads, which keep the people employed doing the roads, or we could reallocate it.
Obviously, I'm not going to argue their issue, but because I don't know their issue.
Right.
I have no idea what you're doing. But I do know that if someone has costs in there, it's not like private sector. These guys are under probably strict control with so much increase. It's not like their money's running rampant. I don't really.
No, I think we got too many people, too many chiefs, not enough Indians. I see it in the school district. The school has 2,200 positions that don't see students. That's not counting gardeners, janitors, cooks, which see them superficially.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
Now,
and half of the, almost, well, I don't know, half, but last year there were 30% of them that were vacant. And they never put a person in that job. But with government, you have that money allocated to those positions, so you have to spend it on something or lose it.
I'm going to stop for a second because I see that our speaker is this way. So you may be hearing a lot of music. I'm going to flip you around. Let's see what happens. You stay.
Okay.
This is nice too. Here we are. We're sitting in Ruby Tuesdays in Kihei. Thank you for this location, guys. I think they want to give us free meals, but we'll fight them off. Seriously, thank you. I like the idea of being careful with our money and having less administration, but there's this thing about people and age and attrition that will handle it and slowly lower our budget by having fewer administrators and more techno solutions.
Well, and
right?
that's a way. I think that's a way to downsize the size of government, because I'm not saying fire government employees. I'm thinking through retirement and downsize it, and in the areas that are vacated, let's use that money for other things.
I'm sure. That would be my plan if you put me there.
Right.
But I'm not going. We still have Joe Suki for a long time. Joe Suki has all kinds of ideas. If you said to him, "Well, we haven't been," he would say, if you said to him that you think money should be spent differently, it would be an interesting conversation. Have you spoken to him yet?
No, I haven't spoken to him.
He's an interesting man. He's been there. Wow, he's been there longer than I've been doing this. So and then some. And he was MEO before. So we have a pretty conscious group. In fact, a very powerful group from Maui that work well together. I think he's a real binding and bonding force. Have you spoken to any of these people that are in office to really? I'm only asking because you're running against, like I said, two powerhouses, and you're the Republican. Used to be Republicans who'd carry the day in Kihei blindly. Chris Halford would do it, and all kinds of people would run and be newcomers and kind of get knocked off the box, and everyone scratched their head in a place that was Democrat. Why was there this little pocket Kihei, which was heavy Republican, right? Then it was the guy with the red hair. I'm so sorry. He's a very nice man. He used to be a police officer. And then Kaniela upset him. He's been there 2 terms. But you feel you could make some kind of fundamental change that would say, yes, I believe in different values, or something that would add to quality of our life?
I do. I believe that, first off, we should be able to educate our kids. We aren't doing that now. I mean, we're so top heavy, we're mismanaged. We need to get back to that classroom. We need kids, if they can't pass 3rd grade math, then we need to fail them, because we're doing them a disservice by pushing them along and pushing them along.
When you say 3rd grade math, you mean 3rd grade, don't you? These kids are in high school and they can't do 3rd grade math?
I teach high school, and I'm doing 4th grade math in high school right now. And
as a regular thing?
As special ed, but the mainstream kids aren't that much dramatically ahead. We get them through, algebra by force feeding it and repetition.
Would you say that the regular classes would, as they hear that, they're going to go, what, are you kidding me? Our kids can read better than 3rd grade. But
well, not technically. The United States only reads at 5th grade level.
Okay, there you go. We're fighting. We're scraping the bottom here. But we have some kids also that excel. So
we do. We have some great kids.
That we have kids that are self-motivated.
There's some of my old students that work here. I just talked to.
Yeah,
so
that's great. Isn't that fun?
Yeah, that was.
That's the one benefit of getting old. You see these people and they go, Mr. Schwartz, and you go, oh, I had you. You were my substitute in 1993 when you were running for mayor the next year. Very funny, buddy. I think that it's really important to put money in education at the grassroots, which means where the kids are. I don't know how to do that.
Well, I agree with you. I think by allocating the money differently, I think K through 3rd grade teachers should not have more than 10, 15 kids. Because if the kids don't get the basics at that level...
But how do you do that? You just talk about...
Well, we just look at this allocation of the money we have at the upper level.
How many kids do they have in class, in regular class?
25. 30? 25. Or some high school classes have more than 30. But if we would take that money and to have more lower level students and have those kids learn basic skills and behavior, because the behaviors are running amok at schools. We don't have enough discipline level.
I hope you can hear this. Go ahead.
And to be able to
speak loud.
and to be able to have them learn to have fun. Otherwise, if we lose those kids in those first 3 years, you lose them for the next 8. It's hard to get them back on track. That's why kids don't want to be in school. And we have all this extra money. Any other things that you can help?
Is there extra money?
We have extra positions that are unfilled at the top. We have...
how long do they have to hold that position before they put it into a general fund that can get back to use at the local level?
And see, we don't...
There's no mechanism.
Somebody knows that, but we don't know. Because if you look last year...
Now, do you think your 2 representatives, let's talk about that, could Ms. Caniella or Deidre, actually very interestingly, both, to me, appear to have some experience. Deidre always talks about she knows how to get the governor to kick it out. And Caniella also has a thing. They all have their own specialties. How do you get them to release that money is the question.
Well, I think part of it is not only releasing money, but allocating it
on a regular basis
to across the board. Look at the TAT tax. That originally started as a 6% tax, and only 5%.
They just picked this time. They're going to blend every drink they can, pre-blend. Well, otherwise, they would think it's a doctor's office.
Drilling our teeth, right?
But the TAT tax.
Originally, the government was only supposed to take 5% of that 100%, of that 6% for administration fees. Now, out of the 9.25% of it, the top 2.25% is taken off the top.
Okay.
which is way too high in terms of administration costs.
Where do those dollars end up when they're done with them all?
Well, those dollars are going to large government. It's like Big Brother trying to employ everybody.
When they have those dollars, if they don't go there, where do they go? Into
Well,
the pockets
okay,
of somebody?
Well, no, they're like the TAT tax was originally in the tourist.
So
tax
the
to
money
go
would stay
for
with the
areas.
hotel. So let's say, what if we could take the money that was going to be pledged for TAT tax and allocate it visibly?
Well, that's what it's supposed to be.
Well, I'm just saying, transparently do it, but identify it separately so to satisfy everybody's need for transparency and do something good with it. Because
I agree. That's what it should be done. I mean, you got Wailea, you got Kaanapali, our big tourist areas. You got Honolulu, but they're taking now 2.25% off the top, and what they're doing is now they're throwing it in a pot, dispersing it across the whole state. And
see, that's what I mean, dispersing it. That's where I'd like to know. When they disperse TAT tax, does it go back to a general fund that goes into roads or education, or if I want to, or does it go into development of specific positions to accomplish specific goals? What if we could control what happens with our portion of the TAT tax? I'd like to understand better where it all goes.
I agree.
That kind of tracking. You know, when I saw you, I don't know why. When I saw your shirt, I thought of tracking. There's a guy that used to live with me. He's a bit unusual. He's running for state senate again. His name is Ed Pekus. And when I think of this, I think of the Tea Party and the whole thing. What is this? Why'd you wear this shirt?
I take it more towards America. I think.
Oh, okay.
I think right now we're really split. I mean, I grew up in Southern California near the Watts riots. And I think racially we're more split now than we were then. I mean, I don't call myself
this election in November. I've never seen such divisive things going on. I mean,
on both sides. You're right.
Well, how about the fact that Bernie Sanders is no longer a Democrat? I wonder what that does to his people that were all Democrats for going for Bernie Sanders. How does that solidify a Hillary thing? That means more chance for Trump.
Well, what's that do for Hawaii, who voted for Bernie Sanders?
Well, you know, Hawaii, we're the tail. We never really mean much at the end. You could vote for Jill Stein. The state could go solidly for the Green Party, but it wouldn't matter.
Right.
But the fact is, it's good stuff to around the dining table, but it's the local elections that are really the most important to me.
Well, in the national election, it doesn't affect us too dramatically, except for when you get your senators and congressmen that go to Washington and how they get certain monies.
Well, okay. Obviously, you're running with certain, I won't say agenda. I mean, for someone to run is a big deal. I know from having done it. And what made you want to run?
You know, it's funny. My fiance and I were talking, and I said, we kept saying no. That's why I jumped in so late in this election. But then finally we said, people have asked you to run. They know my background in terms of business and working in the schools. And we finally said, how many times you get in your life do you get asked to run for an office?
Well, that's it. You were drafted. That's a good reason.
So we looked at it and I said, let's see what we can do. I mean, right now I'm going against big money with both sides there.
But what does that money do for them? A little more visibility.
Well, it's more visibility, and they're going to get millions.
You guys take this thing and you email the link to all your friends in Kihei and tell them and put it up on Facebook and put it up on LinkedIn and share it with everyone. You can effectively compete with all the money. I think print advertising is absurd. I think that it has its place. But in this day and age of the internet, this is the most powerful way.
I agree.
Don't you want to see who the candidate is up front? See if he's someone that you can talk to? See if he's someone that agrees with you? Other issues that are important for you?
Well, one thing, coming from my standpoint too, I think I'm more like the constituents and people. That You can sit there and talk to me. You can, everybody I knock on doors to, when I show them my email address and my website, most of them, it's funny, most of them, first off, they want to know what party you're for.
Email address and website.
But then when they talk issues, then they start going, wow, I could vote for that.
Well, that's what I meant. But there used to be a Republican area, and suddenly, for some reason, the guy that was here lost to Caniella, who walked every house. You've heard that story.
Right, I've heard the story. Yeah.
Very good story. Anyway, but so here we are. Your ideas. That's why I asked you, what's so different than these other candidates? And that's why I was asking it that way. Because I'm always surprised this so easily goes Democrat when it's so forever went Republican. Do you think the constituency has changed? Probably not. Some of the demographics
has changed.
Saying, right?
Some of the demographics have changed, but that's like I said. When people ask party, I think what's wrong right now with our voting public is that they vote off of one issue, and they shouldn't, because everything is convoluted and tied together in some realm. I mean, I use teacher acronym because we don't trust government anymore. My T is trustworthy and transparency. We need everything out there and simplistic so people can understand it. E is education. A is affordable housing and homeless. Homeless is a big thing.
EAH. I think AGA. Homeless is really the big one to me.
Well, it is a big one, but I mean, and the thing is, we're going to have all this excess land with the cane leaving. There's opportunity there.
I don't know if the HCNS would say excess. Buy
well,
it. Then we'll give it
no,
to you.
but that's true. That's true. But the thing is there might be pockets for homeless, and there's models in other states that have worked with what's the building humanity to build homeless shelters.
Okay.
And then we need, and homeless, not only is it homeless is an issue, then you got the mental health component, because a lot of them are not homeless out of choice. So we got those components, and then we got to train people.
Then we have the fact that the jobs aren't giving us enough money, because I was homeless because I could be working and I was homeless. A lot of them.
Well, and that's a big problem.
They all mixed together, and
right.
Thank you, President Reagan. Everyone says he's the best president. I think he was nuts.
But I mean, part of that's look at the teachers. Look at the teachers right now.
Anyway, but that's controversial. But we have you mentioned it. It's out on the street. There's an amazing number of people that don't have a choice. They're out on the street.
Right.
We got council that's in there and people and representatives forever, as long as I've been doing this, 20 plus years, and not handling these basic problems. What can you do about that?
I think a problem is that if you ever look and see all the bills that they're passing over on Oahu, first off, you could read for days and hours reading through them. And then they make them so convoluted. When I write a special ed IEP goal, because that's what I work with, is individual education.
What's IEP?
Plan. Individual education plan. It should be so simplistic that any one of us could monitor the goal. For example, if I write a math goal, it should say, given 10 problems of fractions addition, you will get 8 out of 10 right. Just that easy. Our laws and our bills should be written not to try to throw in every exception into the law. I think it should be written simplistic and then let the attorneys prove their exceptions. Because then it's understandable.
Well, again, they're going to say we'd rather have check boxes on a form and have everything in the form. Otherwise, the court systems would be clogged with individual things.
Aren't they already?
Well, again, I'm just saying, you talk about future direction.
Right. But I mean,
I think the direction is everyone should attest that they already understand the law before they get. I think a lot of the problem is that the laws aren't understood and applied. People don't take all this stuff personally.
Well, we don't get rid of antiquated laws either.
It's almost like computerized court, where you're going faster than this, very soon you watch.
But look at the special ed, bringing that up as an example. They brought out for us again this year, new, better way to do something. but they still haven't gotten rid of the stuff from 1995, which was the new, better way.
Really?
Government just keeps, they add something on and you never get rid of it, and then usually you have somebody that's being paid to monitor that thing. I think the cost of businesses is way too high right now. Look at all the vacancies we have in Kihei alone. I mean, Stella Blue for years have been there. You know, the Oceans is gone, the theater's gone. We got Buzz's Wharf that left.
Well, who you going to blame for that?
Well, I think
we need more money.
No, but I think what we need to do with vacancies is we need to get some anchor tenants into these spots.
Well, so
and a way of getting an anchor tenant is like everyone else does, and it's a formula that Sears has used forever. But is you give them a good tax break for 5 years or so, with a 10-year contract that they have to be there. So you're going to start getting the taxes after 5.
They may already evaluate and say
but
the
you're going to
cost
start
here,
generating money.
Isn't it? I don't know. It's just so much. You know, to me, what's sad about the law is if you're building, you build another building, you can rent it out for this per square foot, but you can't find a tenant, so you get to write off the loss of what it would be had you filled that thing. Plus, you get the depreciation on the building.
Well,
and then you build another one. What are you building another one for?
You're right.
You get the write-off and you get this. But meanwhile, we have all this space with all these high numbers. We need space. We have 10,000 living in a chai. We should be doing something, in my opinion. With what we have, we should be doing things outside the box. And you got to bring them inside. That means changing the laws. But we need people that are willing to handle emergencies as emergencies. That's why I'm asking. You know, if you want to know who my representative would be, it's whoever's going to handle stuff. Because we go on forever. You know, I've been interviewing people. I throw some of them out because I'm almost afraid to bring up what they said and promised. There are lots of talk. Here we are. I'm now 2 decades I've been doing this. And I thought I'd do better by talking on TV. But it takes someone doing. So
I've always been a doer. So I mean, I've done things.
Okay.
I've been real loyal to every career I've been in.
That one bothers me.
So.
The housing thing is just outrageous. Never mind that they call affordable housing absurd numbers.
My last R is regulations, reduce regulations, and a part of the housing thing is a regulation. Look at the one in Lahaina that just got closed down after years.
Where'd the R come from? I took HEA. I moved them around.
C is cost of businesses. H is health. Okay. E is environment. Again, our number one industry is tourism. And if we don't take care of our environment, we're shooting ourselves in the foot.
Should I mention the word GMO? Might as well. How do you feel about GMOs?
Well, I think GMOs, it's a touchy subject because we don't want to push it so far that we're pushing businesses out of business. Okay.
I just know everyone that's voting has an opinion.
And I think
that one's going to cause you some issue.
Well, I think the GMOs,
the only business they're talking about
clean food. We need clean air. We need.
So you don't mind if it's labeled?
I don't mind if it's labeled. No, no. Matter of fact, that's part of the transparency of my tea. I think everything should be labeled. Okay, not just GMOs, but I think if we have a bill that we're throwing out in front of our public. Why isn't it on the newspaper? Why can't everybody in the newspaper read it and not have to go to some website that after you click 50 different things, you finally find it?
We are living in a very funny age.
So,
people think the Maui News, they have a July 17th electoral primary issue. They give us this much on each candidate if you get in time. You don't even know it. And that's it. And then you have to buy the paper or the thing if you know to. No one else knows where to get information on candidates. I guess this is it. You see these forums, and
this is a good forum, just like
this is a little unusual. I mean, I'm not directing questions and slamming at you. I'm hoping that you can convey to our audience what it is about you that knows that this is the seat.
Well, and the good thing that I have going is that going back to voting, people voting on one thing, they should look at the whole picture. Mm-hmm. Okay, I actually disagree with who they threw out there for the Teachers Association, their backing, but I talked to the president, and they did that before I was running for office. So now I got to deal with those questions of how come the teachers aren't backing you? Well, I talked to them and they said, well, if that person that they backed 3 months before I got into the race is not running, then we can look at it then.
But anyway,
and so I'm just saying,
you all make your own decisions. You can listen to their recommendations, but make your own decisions.
exactly.
You can see in this race we have 3 candidates, all very qualified, strong opinion individuals. Now, when I talk about it, I really mean it. To me, the question, well, whoever's going to win, it shouldn't make a difference, because I think it's the direction of our agenda. So the agenda, what's important to you, whether you sit in that seat or not, your voice continue, all of you, but especially candidates, your voice continuing to be heard is going to make that difference. And that's the most important thing, I think. And that's why I do these shows every election, because don't you want to know who these candidates are? I do. So, what things, I don't know, I'm going to look at the time in a second. What is important that you want to be sure to cover? We've hit some highlights.
Right.
Think about it a second. Give me an idea of, your bottom line to these people. You're the voters. What is it that you want? Let's see what you want.
In what I do teaching, you got to listen. You got to assess and evaluate all the time. I think that's what we don't do in government now. People put their feet in the sand and say they're going to do something one way and that's it. Okay? I might get something put on my desk of being elected for you and say this is what I think should be done. But if somebody else, I'm a numbers person, being a math teacher and my business accounting degree, and saying, show me why it's not right. And if somebody can prove to me that there's a better way to do something, then I want to do it. But you need to get it done, and I get things done, and a lot of people don't get things done. I ask questions. Being a teacher, I ask questions. The school, $130 million for the school. That right now is going to pencil in at $604 a square foot. The highest in the United States is $204 a square foot in New York City. In New York City, though, you got to block streets and you got to pay extra hours just to get to and from work. We're triple that.
Why is that?
That's what I want to find out. Why? Part of it, I think, might be the regulations on who can bid, who can't bid on the project. Because, again, we are a small area when you think of all the potential builders that are going to be bidding on that or capable of doing that type of project on the island. But part of it might just be they wanted to get the school built so badly that they
that's
took
a high
any
number.
bid. I don't know.
They always take in lowest bid. Lowest bid is triple. I'm just looking at the time. Oh, I see. Oh, yeah, good. We're good. I don't know. That's a lot of stuff to look at.
And that's other funds. Oahu wants to take our money to build a high school over there. With those type of funds, why can't you build 2? Again, that's a compromise thing. I know. I was looking at the thing today for the Kihei High School, and they've got a portable put in the plans. Hold it, you're building a new high school. Why would you already have a portable? Okay. So there's just not a logical answer to a lot of things.
You can notice I sound like I'm just sitting here and listening. I am. Because I want you to make your decisions, you see. You're bringing up important points. And you're bringing up points that we hope if it's important for you, you will take the time to not only call, but find out who Danny is. What's your website? Say it right there?
Pekusforhouse.com is my website.
You can probably see it. Can they see it in the back?
You might be able to bring it up.
No, you don't even have to. They've been seeing it the whole time. He likes to do this. Okay.
Pekusforhouse.com and Danny at Pekusforhouse.com.
So you can call them and you can text them and you can look at the website and get an idea. Now, no matter what happens in the primary, which you may have already come and gone by the time you see this, we'll see. Danny Pekus is going to be the Republican against either Kaniela Ing or Deidre Teagarden in the general election in November.
Correct.
Thank you for taking the time to spend here with me.
I appreciate the opportunity, and I want to thank again Ruby Tuesdays for having us here.
Yeah.
And
Now we want our food hot and
it's nice to see some of my old students that work in
that's
here,
really
too.
funny.
Yeah, so that's neat.
So you are, when you go back to school, let's say you don't win. These kids are now all hip. This has awakened them to politics. I guess you're going to be the good, shining example that you got to get involved.
I'm trying to get them involved. I agree, and the kids need to understand that some of them are going to be running the
Our
state
freedom is
years
a
from now.
participation sport. You don't just sit on the sidelines and hope someone else is going to do it the way you like. You do like Danny did. You're involved and you put your voice out there. Very important, right?
Yep.
Am I forgetting anything? Anything that you know you'd like to say and you're going to go, oh, I wish I told them about that.
There's just so many things that we got to deal with that I just don't want people to vote just because there's an R or a D by back of somebody's name, or because they're a teacher and they're only going to vote for teacher's choice, or they're contractor only going to vote for that, because it all interties. I mean, if we get our vacancies filled here, that's more money for the community in terms of just general tax sales and tax money, and also the money supply as it flows within the community, not counting more employment. So it all works interchangeably, and education comes down to a lot of it, because the more and higher the education is, the more people get paid. I think in the 1800s, it was a big thing for families to have an 8th grade education. And then you got to my 1950s, and it was a big thing to have a high school education. Now we're getting to the point where you need a 2-year or some type of trade school. So we've also got to look at the possibility. We got to look at the possibility, if public money is going into high school, maybe it goes into 2-year schools at that point, and then kids are on their own, because at least they're going to start getting educated to get a higher paying job. And in Maui, we need that.
On their own. This very funny thing here on this island. What's going to happen when we all make $15 an hour? The price is going to go up. We're going to have things made in the USA. You won't be able to buy cheap stuff at Walmart and Kmart. It's going to be a new world. Whether Donald Trump makes it into our presidency or Hillary, we have to do things right here. Oh, never mind you other minded characters in the presidential race. It's important what we do here. So each of you that watches this, share it with someone else. If they live in Kihei, more the better. More better. As a
matter of fact, I use bad pigeon to get my students' attention.
Do you?
Yeah.
I stay away from it. We're leaning on his family and friends. He has a nice big banner here, which we're going to show a cutaway. Let's see, there it is, sitting on the table. You're really a family guy, really down to earth, and easy to talk to.
Thank you.
And you can hear he has students here at Ruby Tuesday, part of our community. Thank you for coming down, and thank you for sitting with me. May good things happen for you.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Thank you for joining us, and join us again. And aloha.
Aloha.